At this point, the guy's gay to me, and it's over. Like it's one of those stories where it's not gonna end anytime soon, and
It ends once he comes out and just says I'm a queer.
But that's the thing. It's not.
Once he comes out and says I'm gay.
But then it'll go into
the story is over.
Another whirlwind.
No, then the whirlwind goes into when he's in the locker room. Because outside of the locker room, nobody will care. The general public, to be honest, in the day and age we live, there are a lot of gay people in the world.
Yes.
There are. They're all over the place. You can't stop them, even if you want to, which I'm sure some people out there would want to. I don't care. Most of the people out there don't care. But there's one place they still care, and that's in the locker room.
Yeah.
And that's evident by the corner from the 49ers, Culliver, coming out, I believe it was 2 days ago or during media day, or I don't know, maybe it was the day after media day, but comes out and says that he wouldn't be okay with gay people in the locker room. Flat out came out and said he's a current NFL player, so it wouldn't be acceptable.
Well, you know, I mean...
Now, the 49ers made him apologize for said statements. They made him come out and say he's sorry and he was misunderstood and blah, blah, blah. But everybody knows how the guy feels.
Yeah.
You do. And I'll agree with you. Once it comes out fully, and Te'o admits it as well, the story as far as TMZ and tabloid news and everything else is over. Then it switches to a football news. Then it switches to locker room news. How is he accepted? And I bet you if he actually came out and said it, he might be a little bit blackballed in the locker room, but I bet you there wouldn't be as much ridicule, there wouldn't be any teasing or taunting or anything like that, because everybody in the world would know it. And you don't want to be known as a bully. And guys on your own team aren't going to bully him. Now, maybe they don't talk to him, maybe they ignore him, maybe they don't treat him the same way. I don't think Te'o would get bullied. I don't think
he would either.
At this point, because everybody knows about it. And if he were to be treated like crap, that would come out. And gay rights and gay activists would be up in arms over it.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't treat people like that.
No, that would be considered unacceptable, to say the least. But it's a touchy subject. It really is, because if you think about it, it's one of those situations where men in the locker room might not feel comfortable considering, you know, you're literally showering and changing and dressing and all that kind of stuff. And on the whole other hand, the Te'o, if he is gay and in that locker room, there's a large chance that he might not even care. Like, it might not be, you know, for him, in his mind, just can't look his teammates like that. Just can't. Just doesn't work like that for him.
Well, I'm just saying, even if he's gay right now, he's been in a locker room with guys. He's played on teams with guys. And it hasn't been an issue. It hasn't been. Now, he hasn't come out and said it. But I think at this point, a lot of people know and a lot of people are assuming. I mean, you don't want to assume, but when Tuiasosopo comes out and says he was emotionally involved in a relationship and that he's gay, and then he switched his statement and said, no, well, I'm not gay, I'm confused, and I don't know what to think, and I'm seeing a therapist, and blah, blah, blah. It's time to just give it up. Just come out, say it, be done with it, and move on. But I'm interested to see how far Dr. Phil breaks this kid down. I hope he breaks him down all the way.
And when I heard about Dr. Phil, I'm like, this could turn into something. Because, you know, people just get emotional with Dr. Phil. It's just what happens.
Which is, I don't understand why. The guy's not really a real doctor. He's not a real psychiatrist or anything like that. He's just a guy.
He's a guy that they put a doctor name in front of. And they gave a TV show because him and Oprah were good friends.
Yeah. He got it all because of Oprah. Which is also funny how you saw Te'o go on Oprah's show, and now you're seeing Tuiasosopo go on Dr. Phil's show.
A little ironic, right?
Yeah.
Well, the rough part with this is that at this point, you pretty much blatantly know that Tuiasosopo is
Who did
gay.
we lose in the chat, by the way?
Our anonymous. We had an anonymous. Or no, we lost Nikki K.
Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Oh, I hope he's not mad at us.
I highly doubt it.
That'd be a bummer. I
highly
just wanted
doubt
to shout him out. But I mean, I don't want to dive too far into this Tuiasosopo thing because I want to see the interview with Dr. Phil first. So that's what I am DVRing it, just like I DVR'd Katie, and I DVR'd Oprah on Lance. Or no, Te'o was on Katie, not on Oprah. Wasn't he? Te'o was on Katie.
Te'o was on Katie.
Not on Oprah. Lance Armstrong was on Oprah.
Ah, there you go.
I DVR'd all those.
I was with you, though. I was. I'm like, yeah, he was with Oprah. That sounds right.
It wasn't right.
All the drama and stuff going on in the world of sports.
So we'll see what happens. Interviews 3 o'clock today on CBS.
Oh, yeah,
I am DVRing it.
It's an early thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. I'm not prime timing it.
Yeah, maybe I'll put it on while I do the video editing.
What can it hurt?
It can't hurt any.
It'll probably be the first and last Dr. Phil interview you ever see.
Most likely. Unless one of my favorite athletes ends up on there, which I really hope doesn't happen. But you know what? I'm with you. I don't want to get over-absorbed by it, especially
I hope
since
Nikki
the interview
came back to the chat.
hasn't aired yet.
I saw we went back up to 4. Now we're up to 5.
I will say, some of the things that the kids said, I mean, they already have quotes from the interview, and he fell in love with the kid pretty much. I mean, he fell in love with Te'o, and now the question is, how much was Te'o truly involved? I mean, this kid's up there saying that he wasn't involved at all. But if you love the guy, you're obviously going to lie about it so that he looks good. I mean, you're literally going to cover his ass. So it's one of those things.
See, we have Mike's brother in the chat.
Yeah, which means Mike should be joining us shortly, too. At least I'd
and
like to think
Dr. Phil does suck. I will agree with you. I am not a Dr. Phil fan, nor will I ever watch another Dr. Phil again unless it is sports related. But you gotta watch today. And I find it funny because my dad was actually the first one to call it out when we were sitting around talking, and we found out that Tuiasosopo was going to go on to Dr. Phil. He said that Dr. Phil's going to break him down. He's going to get him to stumble, and he's going to get him to admit that he, is gay. And I said, Dad, I don't know about that. You'd have to do some serious, probing. I bet you Tuiasosopo's been coached pretty well. And he goes, nope, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. You're going to see it, and the whole story's going to start to unravel. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're legitimately seeing. We're seeing everything finally come together.
Your puzzle pieces.
And once they do, and everyone sees the puzzle put together, they'll stop caring. I'll stop caring. Just tell me the truth. The truth
You can't
shall
handle the
set
truth.
you free.
You can't handle the truth.
No, locker rooms can't handle the truth. The rest of the general public can.
Yes, the average American citizen can handle the truth coming out of this situation. But I'm telling you, Te'o, he's more worried about his family finding out and them getting emotional and upset with him for that. Because, I mean, we've talked about it before, the strong religious
You heard him
backing
say,
they have.
well, he actually said, well, you didn't hear it yet, but he says on Dr. Phil that there were really 3 strong reasons that he had to kind of hide who he is as a person. And that's one is his family, because he couldn't face his family. They're all football players. They're all locker room guys. They're all big, tough, strong guys that have all played professional sports. He has some cousins, some uncles that have been in the NFL. I think his brother or his one cousin was the quarterback for the Raiders. So, I mean, they have a history with the league. The number 2 reason was his church. And being Mormon, it just doesn't lend well to coming out of the closet. And the 3rd reason was being Samoan. In the Samoan culture, it's a small culture. A lot of people in the culture know each other. It's a very tight-knit group. And because of those 3 reasons, he couldn't come out and be himself.
Yeah.
And I bet you it's the same for Te'o.
You know what's weird for me, though, is the one quote that he has is that there were many times when Manti and Lene have broken up, but something would bring them back together, whether it was something going on in his life or Lene's life or, in this case, my life. Now, what are the chances? I know this is far shooting, and you can laugh at me, punt it out of here if you want to. What are the chances that this kid developed an actual split personality from this situation? Like, what, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what if he just got so mentally and emotionally absorbed that he truly felt like this Lene cuckoo when he was on the phone? Like, not just like acting,
Well, that's
like,
what he says. That's what he says, that he created this emotional outlet for himself in exactly a way you just described. That's the whole reason behind what this whole Lene cuckoo thing is that he needed a way to express himself and his feelings, and he did it through Lene. It almost was a split personality type of thing.
yeah.
But at the same time, there are reports that, he says that he was the voice. Then he comes out and says he wasn't the voice. Then he comes out again and says that he was the voice. So you don't really know if he was the voice on the phone. If he wasn't, then was he communicating these things to the person that was on the phone, and then the person on the phone was communicating, his feelings via, the whole thing sounds off.
The whole thing does.
To me, like I've said for the last week now, it sounds like Tuiasosopo and Te'o had something going on. They needed to hide it from the public, and what better way to hide it from the public than they're not around each other, so just put a different name in your phone. This way, when you're on the phone for 8 hours with somebody, or 4 hours at a clip with somebody, and your teammate or somebody comes by to say hello, and you could be like, oh, well, I'm on the phone with Lene. Or when, people see text messages or phone calls on your phone. They see Lene. They don't see Renaya. It's really simple. And the whole thing got way overcomplicated because there's too much lying going on.
A lot of lying going on. You know what? One way or another, this is one hell of an interesting situation. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, we'll see what he has to say on Dr. Phil.